without the people, we can never be in control of any epidemics. And media is the link between that.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and you're welcome to it. It is the introduction of the Media Epidemiology, Infodemiology, and Social Behaviors like Risk Communication Fellowship. The Epidemiology, Social Behavior Risk Communication Fellowship is a collaboration between NCDC, AFINET, and of course, a breakthrough action. We have quite a number of people here. Federal Ministry of Agriculture, we have Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, and then we have also environment. As I go ahead to introduce the DG of NCDC, Dr. Ifedayo Morayo Adetifa, DG. Thank you. We also have in our midst here, Dr. Dugbe Ambolu, Risk Communication Officer and Deputy Director at the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Doctor? She here? All right, thank you. We also have in our midst now Dr. Elizabeth Adedire, Coordinator AFNET. You're welcome. We also have, of course, Dr. Olayinka Omar Farouk. If I don't mention one, I'll probably use my age at the next time. He's the Deputy Project Director at Breakthrough Action Nigeria. Then we have a gentleman with a very beautiful name, Mr. Oliver Yokase, the media consultant and specialist at AFINET. Of course, we have Mrs. Okia Rita, the Deputy Director / Head Environmental Health and Sanitation, Federal Ministry of Environment. And of course, we have Dr. The one we cannot even, there's no way we can even forget Dr. Our great Dr. Dish of NCDC. We also have Usman Omar Bello, Director Admin and Finance, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria. And of course, we're expecting quite a number of other people, and we'll be introducing them as they come. And of course, ladies and gentlemen of the press, we cannot but recognize your presence here because without you, we actually do nothing here. So I'll be moderating this activity, of course, with my friend and colleague, Mr. Nati Abuocha. I'll be running this together. So without wasting your time, we should go straight up to the main activity. Please need to rise for the second stanza of the national anthem. O God of creation, in love and majesty to grow, and in just country, in love the earth, to build the nation, that is our reign. It is my pleasure now to invite Dr. Yaya Disu. Dr. Yaya Disu is going to take the welcome address and he's going to let us know normally why we are here. Dr. Disu.
The Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, the representative of the veterinary officers of Nigeria in person of Dr. Ambolu, who leads communication in Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the Director of Pest Control Services, who is representing the Permanent Secretary of Federal Ministry of Environment, the representative of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, the representative of the collaborator Breakthrough Action Nigeria, AFINET. Dr. Patrick is meant to be here, but is represented by Mr. Oliver Yokase, while Dr. Olayinka Omar Farouk representing Breakthrough Action Nigeria, and also other partners who are supporting us behind the scene. the distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. I want to, on behalf of the NCDC and partners, to welcome you to this remarkable event. We thank you for sparing time and prioritizing this activity to be here, because you have a lot on your table. And we want to really acknowledge your past effort in contributing to health security costs in country. We know what we have all gone through in COVID-19 pandemic, and that is what gave us to what we're doing today. We want to also appreciate the organizers who work behind the scenes to make today a reality. I particularly want to thank God Almighty for making it possible. And then the reason we're here is to introduce the Media EIS Fellowship Program, which is to build capacity of the media stakeholders to enable them to report more accurately and effectively, and also to verify information that will improve the well-being of the people. We know they don't do this alone. They do this in collaboration with the relevant MDAs, especially the 1L MDAs, that is Federal Ministry of Agri, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Environment, Federal Ministry of Health, and other partners, both local and international NGOs who work to make this a reality. This is critical to what we do in terms of protecting the health of Nigerians. We leverage on the mandates and strength of every organization and then MDAs to ensure that this objective is collectively achieved. And I want to ensure join us to pay attention to what we're doing today, where we'll be announcing the process for opening this application. And more of this will come up during the media interactive session, especially the statement that EG will cover. So on this note, I want to welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dishie, for the warm and leading welcome. So at this juncture, we'll be expecting goodwill messages from some of our partners. First, Malaysia from Foreign Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. Goodwill message.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. The DG NCDC, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, representative of Breakthrough Action, AFNET, Ministry of Environment, BON, and all other protocols duly observed. I bring us all warm greetings from the Chief Veterinary Officer of Nigeria, Dr. Kolumba Bakuru. And he also expresses his appreciation to the organizers of this program, the NCDC, AFNET, Breakthrough Action, for a timely and laudable program aimed at building the capacity of health-focused journalists on basic epidemiology, infodemic management, social behavior change, and risk communication. Health issue is not a one-man business. It is a collective responsibility of all stakeholders, including health-focused media practitioners. The health-focused media practitioners has a great role to play in informing the public about public health-related events, disease outbreak prevention, and control measures in Nigeria. It is hoped that the training will enhance the knowledge and skill of health journalists in reporting, writing, and editing disease outbreak stories, teaching them how to investigate and confirm that data and evidence-based health reporting, and also to discourage journalists from negative reporting regarding public health interventions. I therefore urge the trained journalists to bear the knowledge acquired during the training in practice of their profession. This will help to strengthen the nation's capacity for emergency preparedness and response through effective science communication, understanding of risk communication to develop social behavior communication content, and coordinated management of infodemics. It is therefore with great joy that the ministry welcomes the idea of Media EIS Fellowship Program in Nigeria. We would like to reassure you of our commitment in ensuring the successful implementation of this laudable initiative. I hereby wish health journalists a successful media EIS training program. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ambulu. So it's now for the Minister of Environment. Good way.
Director General, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, the Rep, Federal Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Breakthrough Action Nigeria, AFNET, and other partners present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press. Good morning, everyone. I bring you this goodwill message from the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Environment, on this important occasion of launching the media training of the journalists in the area of risk communication and reporting. This is a laudable activity that the ministry is very happy to relate with. The issue of public health is a very delicate matter that needs that all hands must be on deck. Any negative reporting on the issue of any health issue, any outbreak will lead to tremendous and devastating effects to the country. So this is very apt. The media has to be on board. And I sincerely thank Breakthrough Action Nigeria and AFNET for putting this training curriculum together. On the part of Federal Minister of Environment and the spirit of One Health, we will do all that is required of us to make sure that this program succeeds. And I will also appeal that all relevant partners, all relevant organizations, their media units that are reporting on the issue of public health should be carried along in this important training, because the media is very, very important in the issue of disease prevention and control. So I wish to reiterate our commitment to this effort and wish the training a successful outcome. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Madam. Bon.
Thank you very much. Please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. I bring you greetings from the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, who is the CEO and Chairman of MultiChoice, and Dr. Yemisi Bambi, Executive Secretary of Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria. I'd love to be here today because of this very important function. Due to some other official engagement, he mandated me to present you. DJ, we would like to appreciate you and your team for recognizing the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria as one of the critical stakeholders in this project. And I would like to assure you that we continue to partner with you. And again, we would like to trace a little history that this is not the first time. And actually, this is the result that we have been seeing. We could remember during the Ebola period, the NCDC, the Ministry of Health, of course, and the media came up together to work hand in hand and got so kind. You can see the result. We were able to contain it. And we shouldn't be in a hurry to forget during the COVID-19, the NCDC was there, the Ministry of Health and other related health agencies, together with the media. And media is one of those industries that did not to sleep. They have been there attending the PTA, actually giving live coverages at free of charge. We just have to make sure that we are there in order to enlighten the public. And we'd like to assure you that this is coming from the Executive Secretary and the Chairman. I should inform you that BON will be ready to partner with you and will continue to partner with you. And again, there are a lot of diseases in the country which we know, and a lot of the majority of the people we have in this country mostly are in the rural areas. They don't have, they don't operate social media, they are not, they don't have internet access to, verify some of these things are happening. But I would like to assure you that we'll continue to do our best to talk to our people, to go to the grassroots, talk to them, enlighten them, update them on all these diseases and what have you that is happening in the country. So I think it is on that note, maybe I will just close it by to tell you we have a body now that is called the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters. And this Society of Nigerian Broadcasters is mainly for professionals, especially those who are working in programs department, news, and engineering. We want to see how we can uplift the standard of broadcasting. And we have different trainings on different courses, and we have started. In fact, we have inducted the first batch. We are about to induct the second batch, and we have begun training our members. So if NCDC and BORN can come together to come with some courses that you think that our journalists need to know, believe me, we can organize such trainings at different locations, not to bring them maybe in Abuja in one place to do a training. We can decentralize it so that we encourage attendance, so everybody can benefit from that. So I would like to take much of your time. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here. Thank you, sir.
I think BORN deserves a thundering applause. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think at this point, we are coming to the high point of what we are here for. And I know before now, some of all the issue at stake, the subject matter, may still appear very nebulous to some of us. But in the House, we'll have a gentleman and lady that will throw more light to the issue at stake so that many of us will be in tandem with the situation of things. I'm at this juncture calling on the Dr. Disu of NCDC to tell us more about the fellowship.
I still follow the established protocol. People of us will be speaking, but I'll speak to the aspect that NCDC is involved in, but it's a collaboration with three main organizations. This is actually a background before the rule NCDC plays. It's important to set it clear. It's in recognition of the critical role that media stakeholders play in public preparedness and response that's protecting the health of people. Without the people, we can never be in control of any epidemics. And media is the link between that. The current surveys we have done during the COVID-19 pandemic, different opinion polls have shown that people trust the media, and then media is also a possible channel for misinformation if they are not properly trained. And we experienced it during Ebola. The first media training for health reporting was done during Ebola. And then we've been doing that, and then we got to the peak of that during the COVID-19 pandemic. After evaluation, interaction review for the pandemic, the critical stakeholders came together to understand how better we can engage media. Before we were doing media engagement, but now media involvement, we're involving media in planning our activities, working together. But we're moving to the next level, media empowerment. And then we're able to identify the needs areas, ability to understand technical reporting, means epidemiology of the disease, and also how to report accurately when they see different papers, how to verify, to validate what they are reporting. And how can they report effectively to convince to adopt the health advisories? So that's what gave back to this. And we met in Lagos February last year with some media partners, and I think one representative of editors were invited to have a brainstorming session to understand what the needs are. And then we got the input, we designed the tools for doing the needs assessment. And then it was piloted, and at the end of the day, we conducted the needs assessment in December last year. And that now gave us insight as to how to develop a training curriculum. And several engagements have been done, engaging the wide stakeholders, Ministry of Agri, Ministry of Environment, and other relevant stakeholders, international partners, WHO, and so on. are all involved at various levels in this. So, and NCDC, as we all know, has a mandate for protecting the health of Nigeria against the infectious disease of epidemic importance and other diseases generally. And then, so our role in this is to lead on the infodemic management, because this is one critical capacity we have built over time, leveraging on our Tatafo event-based surveillance system. And then we've been able to show examples to the rest of the world when it comes to infodemic management. WHO and other countries in Africa are adopting our models for infodemic management, and for journalists to be able to report accurately, and then to also ensure that they verify, fact check every information that comes. We are working with other partners behind the scene, and to make sure that we develop this component of the curriculum. On this note, I would like to invite, hand over to my colleagues from Afinet, who will talk more about the epidemiology component of this. Thank you.
Also, Dr. Elizabeth Adedire.
Good morning, the Director General, and for NCDC, the representative of BAN, representative of the Federal Ministry of Health, all protocols duly observed. So on behalf of our of our Regional Technical Coordinator, Dr. Patrick Nguku, I bring greetings from him, and he expresses his delight at this very laudable training program that we are launching today. He wishes to be here, but due to some very important activities, is unavoidably absent. So the training program is actually a laudable one, and Afinet, with our mission of ensuring a healthier Africa, we have supported several training programs across the country, including the field epidemiology training. We know about 3 tiers of the field epidemiology training program. We have the short term, we have the intermediate, and then we have the advanced training program. So we have supported this training activity, and it's really very laudable that we will be also supporting this epidemiology components of the training of media. The COVID-19 pandemic has actually revealed a lot of gaps in public health communication. We have all manner of infodemics and all that. So this program will actually help to address this. We have actually, seen a lot of gaps with the information that is being passed across in the media, and to be able to address this properly, I see that it's very important for us to be able to train the media. And like Dr. Diso has said, that has actually been ongoing for a while, and this training that we want to embark on will help us to improve on the way the public health communication and overall being able to tackle different pandemics that we have. COVID-19 pandemic, even though has been declared over, by WHO, but we don't know when the next pandemic will be. So it's very important for us to be prepared. So we're happy to support the training of epidemiology, of the media in epidemiology. They really need these skills for them to be able to report accurately on diseases. Once they have this training, they will be able to report and will be able to prevent all manner of infodemic that's being passed around. So on this note, I'll stop here, and we impose our commitment to community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adedire. Okay. This time we need to hear from Breakthrough Action Nigeria through Dr. Olayinka.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. I remain the objective protocol that has been observed. I'm Dr. Olayinka Umar Farouk. I work as the Deputy Project Director for Breakthrough Action Nigeria. riding on what Dr. Disu has said around the program, the media EIS, epidemiology, infodemiology, and social and behavior. The collaborative agreement between three key stakeholders, Nigerian Center for Disease Control, the African Field Epidemiology Network, and Breakthrough Action of John Hopkins Center for Communication Program. In this partnership, the epidemiology aspect of the project is going to be handled by AFINET and is alluded by my colleague. AFINET has been supporting epidemiology training for over a while in this country. The infodemiology aspect will be handled by SDC, to mention how we have built capacity as a country and other countries coming to mentor us around epidemiology. For the third aspect, which is on social and behavior change, will be largely driven by breakthrough action. So the COVID-19 pandemic, like many health events, will once again reveal the importance of promoting strong and healthy information ecosystem to improve health literacy. That is the capacity to obtain, process, and understand basic health information and services needed to make appropriate health decisions. Amid the pandemic, we witnessed the erosion of trust in the public health response, health system, and public authorities. The role trust plays in public's adherence to health information and practices is undeniable. And the role the media play is key in building trust as they remain the trusted source of information for the public, not just through their channels, but through the people who deliver the information, the journalists, the editors, the reporters, and everyone within that continuum. It's generally acknowledged that how health events are covered in the media, particularly during an outbreak of an unknown disease where fear and panic thrive. This shapes what we know, how we think, and how we behave. Communication about personal preventive measures and providing the public with correct and true information are imperative during outbreaks, as this information empowers the public to take responsibility for their own health. However, there's often uncertainty about the fact and conflicting messages disseminated by varying media channels, leaving the public with a sense of skepticism relating to health messages. To do this effectively, risk communication and community engagement requires trust and ensuring that the correct and trusted information is available. This latter is achieved by building understanding between public health officers and the media, bridging the gap between critical stakeholders who will contribute to combating outbreak and ultimately save more lives. As United States Agency for International Development flagship program on social behavior change and the prime risk communication partner, Breakthrough Action led by John Hopkins Center for Communication ignites collective action and encourages people to adopt healthier behaviors by forging, testing, and scaling up new hybrid approaches for social and behavior change. Exactly, social and behavior change is an area within the public health that promotes the notion that we can support the public to take on healthier behaviors, and we can do this by communicating with them about how to take care to take these healthier behaviors in ways they will trust. When public trust in the source of information, they are likely to act and take on healthier behavior. BA Nigeria believes in the power the media has as one of the trusted channels of communication for public health messages, especially during public health emergency. The public listens to and trusts the media. And so we have worked extensively with media across our different implementation programs over the years. Since 2020, we have collaborated with many stakeholders, including partners on this fellowship, NCTC and AFNIC, and others like the Presidential Task Force, the National Nutrition Agency, US CDC, UNICEF, and Africa Check to build capacity of media stakeholders on diseases like COVID-19, Lassa fever, Mpox, and have trained over 300 media practitioners using the One Health approach. In the same vein, we have worked at the state level across 13 states to strengthen the capacity of over 209 health content producers and news reporters through mentorship to produce and broadcast impactful health shows that help the public make informed decisions. Through this collaboration, the Media EIS Fellowship, Breakthrough Action will be leading on the social and behavior change and risk communication component of the fellowship. We will draw from our years and expertise to deliver proven and tested SVC approaches and apply them to risk communication. This will allow the media practitioners to package scientific information and generate content in a way that resonates with the public and for them to take positive actions towards healthy behavior, which ultimately will benefit all Nigerians. Understanding that trust is the bedrock of effective communication. BA Nigeria and the entire fellowship partners will leverage the reputation the media has as a trusted channel of communication to enhance their capacity to educate, motivate, and build confidence in their audience. The goal is to shift from providing health information to providing health information that promotes positive emotion and action, thereby strengthening the overall public health information ecosystem to achieve information equity for improved health literacy and ultimately health security. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lainka. At this juncture, I will call on the Director General and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention of Infodemiology, Moyoya Adejipa, to have the floor for his remarks.
Well, good morning, everybody, and I'd like to start off by recognizing the representative of the Chief Veterinary Officer of Nigeria from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, representative of the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of the Environment, representative of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, our partners, Breakthrough Action, APNET, and others present. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, and gentlemen of the press, or are they ladies of the press now? Still gentlemen of the press. It's with pleasure that I give remarks here today, and we are talking about the Media Epidemiology, Infodemiology, and Social Behavior Change Risk Communication Fellowship Program flag-off. It's a mouthful. Let's just call that Media EIS. It's all about the media, and that's perhaps why we have a bit of a media endemic at the moment. But as I said, I'd like to express a warm welcome to everyone present here at this event where we are flagging off the Media EIS Fellowship Program. I'm particularly grateful for all parties that are represented here, because essentially what you are seeing is the power of partnerships. We operate in a One Health Alliance in terms of the work that we do to assure national health security, at least from the perspective of the NCDC. This recognizes that you can only truly and properly look after the health or guarantee the health of human beings by paying attention to what goes on with the animals, and of course, paying attention to what goes on in the environment that we share with the animals, including all of these bugs that cause the diseases that we are often talking about. This story of partnership beyond One Health also extends to our partners, APNET, our partners, Breakthrough Action Nigeria, and of course, one of the representative bodies of media in the country. We are grateful for your commitment and your support, and we acknowledge that your efforts, your support, your commitment, your dedication is contributed significantly to this milestone event today. So why is this important? On Friday, I was talking about diphtheria. Diphtheria is the latest headline, and there's been lots of headlines and questions about diphtheria outbreak in Abuja. The question is, do we actually have an outbreak in Abuja? Okay, we have one confirmed case of diphtheria, which sadly was associated with a death. Is one case an outbreak? Okay, what does the term outbreak mean? What does epidemiology mean? What does infodemic mean? We recognize that communication obviously is essential to carry along the public that we serve and to make sure that there is full understanding and cooperation, because without the cooperation of the public, including many of us here, all of the efforts that we are implementing or putting in place to look after the environment, look after animals, look after human health will not work. You need the cooperation of the citizens and the public. And for the public to cooperate with you, then they need to not just have a relationship of trust, but they need to have the appropriate information. Now, there is no agency, even those that are present in every state government or every state capital or have state offices or zonal offices. There is no government agency that is present in every community. Okay? But press, the media, the information that you share percolates or reaches every corner of the country, whether it's by radio or more traditional forms of media, or now by social media, which some people call new media. And social media, perhaps for all of its advantages, it's also part of the reason why we have the infodemic that is now associated with public health events. Infodemic. Basically what it means is, and in our context is that when there's a public health event, in addition to that event, there's excessive amounts of information about or related to that event. Unfortunately, that information is mostly or typically incorrect or wrong. And with social media, with TV, with radio everywhere, with all the other platforms, this wrong information spreads very quickly. Okay, and because it spreads very quickly, it often means that you are playing catch up, which means that finding a solution to it is typically difficult. Now, we would report news, for example, of fake drugs and all of those, and even we would prosecute people who manufacture and dispense fake drugs because we know what the consequences are. People take them, they don't work, and they may suffer prolonged ill health or even die. Okay? The question to colleagues in the media is, do you actually recognize that that headline, that information that you share, you publish, can actually directly result in a citizen's death or suffering? And I think the role that you play in determining whether one lives or dies, it sounds very extreme, but you'll be surprised, you know. There were people who died or suffered, who may have suffered significant ill health because they soaked themselves in salt baths to cure Ebola. Okay? Somebody broke that news. Somebody spread that news. And this is where, of course, to an extent, you need to also touch on citizen journalism, if you want to call it. Do you need to forward that message? Even if you add the caveat, please advise, or I am not sure if it is correct. Do you need to forward that message? Do you need to share that headline without verification? Do you need to share news that you haven't confirmed from official? So, in the context of the pandemic and other outbreaks, we recognize that there was an infodemic. And we also recognize that, you know, in the context of a pandemic, which was a once-in-a-lifetime event, many of us had to learn new things, okay? There was need for expertise in the media at a scale that perhaps was never previously seen before. And with a rapidly evolving pandemic situation, information changed also very quickly, okay? So people did not have the background knowledge, the background skills, the technical capability to understand all of the stuff that was being thrown at them, whether it's new research, whether it's results of drug trials or results of vaccine trials, and things about the tests for diseases or even the nature of the pathogens. All of this pose significant challenges to colleagues in the media. And it is in recognition of this and to make sure that we are better prepared for the next outbreaks. As you know, Nigeria often features yearly concurrent outbreaks, but we want now that we are in peacetime, sort of, to invest in empowering our media colleagues, without whom we can't work, to also have the tools that are required to provide the right information, public health information to the citizens that we collectively serve. And it is this gap that the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, the African Field Epidemiology Network, AFNET, and Breakthrough Action Nigeria are trying to fill by implementing this unique media fellowship that we are gathered here today to speak about. As I said, the media plays very important roles in amplifying the messages that we need to go out to support behavioral change of Nigerians, irrespective of the socio-economic standing of the citizens and through all of the platforms, whether traditional or new. Diphtheria is about, it has been about since December, and we unfortunately expect more cases to arise in different parts of the country. But why? Because this is related to historical gaps in vaccination coverage. So rather than focus on the headline of a disease or reimagined disease causing havoc, it's important that that same headline is accompanied by a detailed discussion around the underlying factors. And the underlying factors or predisposing factor is all about people not taking up vaccines that are routinely available on the MPHCDA's recommended childhood immunization schedule. Let that be the message. That is the correct message. We need vaccination coverage to go up. We need people to take up all of the opportunities that are being provided by the federal government, by the Federal Ministry of Health, by the MPHCDA, by state PHCDAs and public health authorities to make vaccines available. Okay, this is an example of very highly effective tools that can prevent death and suffering that are just not being taken up by some segments of population. So we hope that in endeavors such as this, which try to bridge the gap between science, between government authorities, population, public health, and trust, will multiply, will be taken up, and of course, our media colleagues will be better equipped, not just to share the right news, but also spread the gospel to other colleagues, because the cohorts that starts this program or this fellowship will be basically trainers. We expect you to learn, but also to go and share the knowledge and even to start similar endeavors. This Media EIS fellowship is intended to be a premier capacity building program, and it is expected that it will develop the knowledge, the skills of the network of journalists that are working in public health through comprehensive training on basic epidemiology. Again, sounds like a big term. I'm an epidemiologist. All it means is a description of health events. Typically, you want to answer 3 questions. Who has it? Why do they have it? And where do they have it? It might be sickness, it can be good health, it can be death. So we want people to understand that. We want people to understand infodemiology, and we want people to understand social and behavioral change, as well as risk communication. Behavioral change is probably the most difficult endeavor that we have in common as human beings. People may have the correct information, but they also don't change behavior. And it is left for us to continue to find ways to communicate that information in a way that leads to the desired outcome, which is a change in behavior. We want people to keep their environment clean. Okay? Environmental sanitation contributes to health overall. Okay, we want people to pay attention to their animals, to not give them unnecessary antibiotics or other treatments that are not necessary, so as to safeguard the health of those of us who consume them. Okay, we want people to notify us when you notice birds die by number in the bushes or animals are dying. We expect you to notify us very quickly so that the necessary public health action can be taken. Okay, and so on and so forth. So I'm happy to see this flag off officially, because I look forward to seeing the impact of this fellowship on science communication and agenda setting for health in the country. And I thank you all very much for the time today. And of course, bid you a warm welcome to the NCDC headquarters. Thank you all very much.
I think that the DG deserve you can see his remark has many dimensions, which we cannot even many, so we may not be going into them one after the other. But in my own understanding, I have to cap it up with just nothing but a professorial remark. Thank you, PG, for that remarks. So all things being equal now, gentlemen of the press, all we have been discussing here centers around what you know how to do, what they believe you can improve upon, and the best way to do it is through this training so that you understand better and what improve more rapidly. So at this point in time, we have to maybe from questions, comments, and observations, or hear what enable you or enable them feel how you understand or how you tend to grapple with the situation when the hour comes. So as it is now, we are going to have a few questions, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not, but we're going to take 5 questions. Then from here, I will give opportunity to those people online to make their own contributions as well. Thank you. I think if you have anything to say, you can indicate by raising up your hand. Okay, maybe first, if you are coming, you tell us your name, your medium, and they'll go ahead with your question.
Partners President. My name is Nancy. First, thank you for this initiative and fellowship, but it's more of a clarification. Now that the fellowship have been created, what is the mode of this training? It is one thing to launch a program or a fellowship to educate journalists, but how do you intend to carry out this fellowship to reach the achievement or the desired goal? Thank you.
Okay, so that question is about
Sustainability training.
Okay, is your question is the mode? Okay, good. So you are going to get an answer to your question. Any other one? Yes.
What about on the selection of the journalists? We are talking about journalists, but yes, it's some online. Well, what is it like? It's a national selection, is the training going to be just like my colleagues as a mode, but now my own is how a journalist training is fellowship. Thank you.
Okay, do you have another question? She wants to know about the mode and he wants to know the selection process. Of course, mode and sustainability. Is that a hand up? Okay, good. So perhaps we should try to tackle these first 2 questions while you are thinking about what else you want to ask. Who wants to go first? Dr. Disu, want to talk about the mode and sustainability? And then maybe Oliver, you can talk about selection, right? Awesome, great. Dr. Disu.
Okay, thank you very much. And the mood, because it's going to be an hands-on training. Already we know you are journalists, you have expertise, reporting, gathering data, but we're going to tailor this to the specific requirements for the different fields you have mentioned, discipline. And it's going to be a 3-month intensive program. And that means you get the line of your organization to release the selected participants. I mean, those who succeed in application. So first, there will be this implementation will be broken into 3 sessions. There's 3 clusters. The first cluster, you have 1 week of didactic lectures in the classroom. And then you now go to the field for the next 3 weeks, based on what you have learned in the classroom. And then you come back, you will have some assignments, some deliverables, which you have to present as the evidence of your field work. So when you come back, you will have the second lecture, which will also be another 1 week. And then you will also go back to the field for another 1 month. And then you also have deliverables to that. Then the last is when you come back. Of course, there will be some key deliverables, outputs you must produce, and then all those will be specified in the content that will be released. So when you come back, then you produce, you also have lectures, which is the third phase, the third cluster, and then I think that's when the graduation will take place. So you also go to the field for that too. It's just that the first one will major more on epidemiology, science of public health, understanding science of public health, while the second cluster will focus more on epidemiology, a bit of what you did in the first one, then more of infodemiology, and then also a bit of social behavior change. And the last will focus more on social change. So we're going to follow that order. So I think that is what it requires. And we're going to leverage the resources, infrastructure we have, working with the stakeholders, the One Health partners in delivering this. Is that we expect that it will be released once there is an outbreak investigation or outbreak in the states, may be deployed with the other responders or assigned to join the state so that you learn that practical knowledge or skills that you require in the field. But while you're doing this, issue of confidentiality will also be taken into consideration. So it's not every information you have when you get to the field. Personal, private information of people that you want to now publish. All those training are part of the package so that we will not undermine what we're doing just because we are training. So maybe Dr. Lai, you have to say quickly.
Sustainability?
Yes, sustainability.
No, let's cover application. That's, well, how are you selecting fellows? Because that's you haven't covered.
Okay. Yes, Oliver, go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Oliver Yokasi, MapNet. So first of all, it's not Abuja alone, it's national. Okay. Then because we can't take more than this first cohort is really, we're targeting 30 journalists for this first cohort. Of course, UDG gives us more money, we target more. We'll take more people. But that's what we are planning. And of course, we also know that this the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Environment, we have people there who are communication experts. We might accommodate that if it allows. So we're looking at 30 persons for start. Now, what is the criteria? One, it's important, you have to be Nigerian. One, you have to be working in the health sector. You must have evidence of work that you've been doing in the past. You have to get approval from your organization to attend. Now, why is this important? It's going to take some time from your work, and your organization needs to be part of that process. Now, the way the program is designed, even your project that you'll be doing, your reporting, your organization has to be a part of all that system. So yes, that's the key criteria for selection. It is somebody that is a health reporter, editor, producer, that has been working in that space. That's the most important criteria with evidence. So during your application, you'll be asked to submit those materials for verification. Those are the key.
Okay, so I don't know, there's always questions about sustainability. This is the first of its of this fellowship. Certainly, if it's we expect it to succeed, and if it succeeds, then it's easy to make a case for repeating it. And we will be quite keen from our perspective. We have an entire division for risk communication and community engagement. We have partners who work in that space. If we can demonstrate success with this first edition, we certainly will continue to push and advocate to continue with it and even to expand it, of course, depending on the feedback that we get. So we are committed to this in the long term, but the growth of a tree does not happen overnight. So let's see how this plays out first, and then we'll see.
So we have some questions online, which is also in line with some of the answers that have been provided here with regards to selection process, duration. So the call for application will go out immediately after this press conference, and it will be open for 2 weeks, after which the site, a team will sit to select the fellows. So as my colleagues mentioned, we're looking at 30 in this first cohort. The training, we are running 4 months, September to December. So that commitment is required from anyone that's going to participate in the program. As Dr. Bisi mentioned, we will take one topic each month and then run with it. In between, there will also be virtual participation and mentoring along the line. So that's what we currently have on the ground. Someone also asked around, it shouldn't be for media sector, epidemiologists and behavioral scientists should be involved. Yes, they will come in as your facilitators, but the training is strictly for the media. We want them to be able to understand more around this areas. I think those are the key ones that have come up. So the state, like Oliver mentioned, is nationwide. Anybody, any state can apply. It's not limited to states. I think those are the key questions that have come in. Let me just still check. The fellowship, somebody asked if the fellowship will be virtual. It will be hybrid, in person and virtual. Qualifications, we've addressed this. It's not state specific. Somebody asked, are we expecting one participant from each state? What we want to make sure we have a balance is on the different media channel. So people in print, radio, TV, online, to make sure that we have a mix of channels, people working across channels, not state specific. I think that's largely it. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, there is one about different languages and people from different local media dealing with translation from English to local language. So is there any arrangement for journalists in that training how to deal with translation and health issues?
Come again.
So the question is basically if there's any arrangement for translation of health messages during this training into local languages. Yes, into local languages. Okay, let me attempt to answer that. Like we are not developing messaging. That's so I don't see where translation comes in. However, I know when we conducted a needs assessment, we also wanted to know how many people work in the health space centrally communicating in their local language. So depending if that number is high, then we can factor that in our training. Yes, everything we're doing it's guided by what we found out from our needs assessment. So yeah.
All right, colleagues in the audience, please go ahead. Your name and the organization you represent.
Good morning, sir. My name is David Adela from Giant. I would like to ask the DG on the diphtheria.
I don't think we want to be filled from here. Let's focus on the key. I mean, I'm sure we may have opportunity to speak on each.
Well, we want to ask the preliminary rates. How many deaths have you reported and what's
well, two things. So the other reason why we are having this training also is to make sure that colleagues also are equipped to do their homework. Okay, you also need to do your homework for many of the public health events you'll be reporting on. So you don't always have to depend on what we say. There's also independent sources of information that you use to either compare, verify, or triangulate in terms of confirming veracity of what we say. I mentioned diphtheria in my remarks because it's supposed to be preemptive. I knew there would be questions about diphtheria, but the subject matter today is not diphtheria. The situational report for diphtheria, current state of play, is on our website. As we said in the last press release gives the most up-to-date information as of the day that it was released. We have we've had sort of over 800 cases. The numbers I say you can confirm from the website. I think the important thing to note is what I said earlier. more than 70% of the cases are occurring in people that are aged 2 to 14 years. Okay. Over 82% of confirmed cases are unvaccinated. Okay. Now, for people who are 2 to 14 years old that are bearing the brunt of this disease, now what this means is that anything from 2 to 14 years ago, they did not make use of opportunities to get vaccinated. Because if you are vaccinated according to our immunization schedule and you receive your 3 doses of the pentavalent vaccine, which contains anti-diphtheria toxin at 6, 10, and 14 weeks, then you are protected against diphtheria. Okay, so this is why I say we are unfortunately seeing the consequences of historical poor vaccination coverage. As you know, there have been more recent efforts to make sure that vaccination coverage improves. And I think we are seeing a bit of the evidence because infants or children under 2 who have higher coverage these days are less affected by the ongoing outbreak. We are saying 2 to 14-year-olds, but there are even older people, above 40 adults that are affected, which is why poor vaccination coverage is the whole story about the current diphtheria outbreak. Now, it doesn't mean that because people then were not vaccinated when they were younger, that they are now being ignored now. As you may already be aware, I think starting from Friday in Abuja, MPHCDA is conducted a vaccination campaign, okay? Other vaccines, but including a diphtheria antitoxin containing vaccine in the communities, at least the hotspots where these cases or this case was found. And I know that they have plans to continue to campaigns as well, which is targeted at the older age groups. For the rest of us, please take all the children, infants under 2, take them to the health center. If they've not been vaccinated, let them start to catch up with vaccination. And that is the only thing to do to bring an end to current and future diphtheria outbreaks.
All right, thank you, DG. I'm expecting more questions, but not about diphtheria.
Not about diphtheria.
Gentlemen. No more questions? Yes, that's done.
Thank you very much. My own is a question. I don't know because I know that there will be traffic when you open it for journalists to register, a lot of traffic. And a lot of people will not be able to take part because of the number of people that you have on ground. Now, is there any window opportunity for NCDC to organize maybe an online training in order to, at least before maybe other people will have opportunity in the future so that they will not be left for a lot of time? Is there any opportunity for that?
I think if I may sort of preempt the issue, the needs are great, and the needs, the demand for this kind of training cannot be met overnight. Okay, the NCDC and partners are starting this one as a contribution to a solution or addressing the needs in that space. Actually, there are other ongoing efforts. There's a lot of material if you can find online for either basic epidemiology for journalists or risk communication for journalists. Yes, it might not be packaged in this manner when we have epidemiology, infodemiology, and social behavioral change, but you can find resources on those individual subjects online at the moment. Obviously, this is the first edition, and going forward, it may be like we've done for infection prevention control. We might develop an online course so that even more people can access it at when they need to as well.
Can I add actually, in addition to what DJ has said, there's an ongoing effort in training. Like about a month ago, 1.5 months ago, where the training for media stakeholders in Lagos. But these are state-based media stakeholders. They were selected through the state for monkeypox report. So data determines what we emphasize at a particular point in time. Because when we realize that, okay, we need to increase monkeypox reporting, especially when WHO has declared monkeypox as no longer public health emergency of international concern. So there's a tendency that media, everybody will say they need to report this, but we still have it on the way in our. And in the past, we've trained over 500 media reporters, and we also have some strategic engagement too, media correspondents from time to time based on them. So there are other things online. We use virtual means to train the media, but this is an intensive course. Okay, sure.
All right, thank you, Dr. Disu. I want to assume that this is the last question we'll be answering here. I'm sure there's be a space for frequently asked questions. The site when you're about to apply could I encourage you to look through that and get answers to other questions you are not able to ask now. At this juncture, I'd like to invite Dr. Eze. Dr. Eze of NCDC to just give us a bit of thanks as we round up.
Thank you very much. Let me beg the DG to allow me to sit on the existing protocol. Let me begin in no particular ranking by thanking our traditional partner affiliates for the tremendous support and collaboration we've had over the years. The marriage between affiliates and NCDC is like a very peaceful one, and we hope that we continue like that. We say thank you so much for all the things you've done for us. I will keep coming to you for more support. Also, I want to thank so much Breakthrough Action, your role and contributions in the risk communication and community engagement is legendary, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we'll continue in that trajectory. To our One Health partner, Ministry of Agri, we say thank you so much for the collaboration. If the health sector is doing well and the agri sector is not doing well, it's a problem. So it's good that we're working together. We hope that we'll continue to work. Thank you so much for the time. Minister of Environment, the other link in the One Health state, we used to say in the past that it used to be the weakest link in that collaboration. But the link doesn't come now. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for all the time. I hope that we continue to strengthen this. Like we did earlier, we cannot be in all places at all the time. So our major interface with the people is the media. So we thank you so much. You're the umbrella body of the broadcasting space in Nigeria, and once you talk, the rest of the people listen. So we thank you for supporting us and continue to support us to take our messages to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. Nigeria is a large spaceship. So in protecting the health of Nigerians, there's this saying, nothing for us without us. We need people's input for us to succeed in what we're doing, and we are sure that with you there, it will be a good for us. So also, we thank so much the rest of the ladies and gentlemen of the press for your time, and we hope that this initiative will grow and mature into other projects that NCDC has undertaken in the past. So we thank you all for your time. DG, we also say thank you for everything.
And those online.
And on our partners and those who are online, people from as far away as African CDC and other places who are not here with us, we say thank you. And we say that we hope that you will take this message to the nooks and crannies of the world for us, because we know that Nigeria is presently trailing this initiative, and if it succeeds, it will also be replicated the world over, and the world will be better for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And any other unanswered questions will be taken care of. Thank you, distinguished guests. Thank you, TG, NCDC, and thank you, Media Epidemiology. Thank you.